All right, good morning and welcome to this Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, May the 6th. We're going to go ahead and call to order. Council, do we have any items to add to the agenda?
Chair, there is one item. It's under legislative matters. It's the consideration of a letter of opposition to AB 1441. The fact that the letters were still relevant came to our knowledge after the posting of the agenda. So the board had previously asked for us to consider this letter, so it's here today.
All right, thank you. Entertain a motion for the addition to the agenda.
Move to add it to the agenda.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second.
Supervisor Wamha,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Pro Tem McCauley.
Yes,
Vote passes 3-0.
thank you.
And Chair and members of the board, good morning. I'll announce this again if you'd like during the consent calendar, but not additions to the agenda, just requests to the board related to the consent calendar and things to note. Item C, there is a typo with regard to the contract. It should be E, not F. That's noted there. It's correct in the backup. There's a request from staff to remove items R, S, and T, primarily because those take 4 votes from the Board of Supervisors and there is a quorum of 3. So those would be moved to the next board meeting. And on item 5U, there is a request to correct resolution. The backup, the number of road mileage is incorrect. So I will be repeating this one during consent calendar. But
as a matter of necessity, I wanted to add the language even after the fact that we find the necessity to add the item to the agenda rose after the posting. And that I think that's important to add to that.
Thank you, Supervisor. And thank you, Council, for the information around modifications. So with that, we're going to get ready to go into closed session. Council, can you read our closed session items into the record?
yes, sir. Chair, members of the board, there are 3 items for closed session. 2 are existing litigation matters under Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1. You have conference with your legal counsel. The name of one case is Cardoza with many other names as plaintiffs versus the Madera County Groundwater Sustainability Agency. This is a Madera County Superior Court case. And same for the second case, which is Valley Groundwater Coalition versus the County of Madera. And the last item is conference with your labor negotiators. Your designated representatives are Joel Bourget, your Assistant County Administrative Officer, Shanika Dixon, your Director of Human Resources, and Sabrina Mendez, your Human Resources Manager. Employee organization, all units, but not elected officials for all classifications of unrepresented employees, subject to discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. With that, we will retire into closed session. Okay, we are back from closed session. Council, do we have any reportable actions?
Chair, there's no reportable action from your closed session.
Fantastic. And do we want to review some of our modifications to the agenda at this time?
Sure. With regards to the consent calendar on item C, it's an Animal Services Department item. There's a typographical error with regards to the amendment, the contract number. There's a letter in there and it should be E, not F. I'm just making note of that error. There's also a request when the board considers a consent calendar to not consider and pull items R, it's a library department item, item S, it's a library department item, and item T, it's a public health department item. And that's primarily because that requires a 4 votes for those transactions, and there's 3 supervisors here today. And the last is a typographical error with regards to a resolution. That's 5U. It's a resolution stating the county maintain road mileage for the year ending in 2024. And the backup is wrong. There are resolutions here for the public near the clerk of the board and for the supervisors, and rather than 1,497.14 miles, it should be 1,1497.07. So there's a long list for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. With that, we're going to move on to our open and close. Do we have any folks that we'd like to open and close in memory of this morning? Go ahead.
I'd like to remember our very good friend Monty Pistoresi today, whose funeral is this coming Thursday. Monty Pistoresi, founder of Pistoresi Ambulance, Citizen of the Year in Chowchilla, Citizen of the Year in Madera, Little League coach, friend. Hunted with him when I first came to Chowchilla, invited me on a pheasant hunt, and I hunted with his family. I posted that picture online, and I had hair then. But he was one of the first guys I met when I came to this area to raise my family and my children. Just a super warm, friendly, loving friend. Always called me, always reminded me that he prayed for me every day. And when Monty said something like that, you could believe him, because he did go to prayer every day. And then he would always tell me every Tuesday he listened to the board meeting. I always appreciated what I had to say. You talk about an encouraging friend. I've lost, and we've all lost from this world, a wonderful, wonderful man. And we have memories.
Thank you, Supervisor.
I have one. I would like to open and close in memory of Stephanie Dickinson. She recently passed of cancer last week, and she's a resident of Riverstone. She's also a former coworker of mine at Fresno Police Department, and she had lots of friends and family that cared for her. She had cancer for quite a long time. She played the back and forth with being cancer-free, cancer coming back. And so we'll always remember her. She hosted the unsanctioned Cinco de Mayo festival in front of her house in Riverstone. And so always had a great time, and she'll be missed. She was always very, very kind to everyone. So Stephanie Dickinson.
Thank you, Supervisor. And I'd also like to add Sheriff Ed Bates, who passed away, I believe, over the weekend. For those of you that didn't know the sheriff, a great man, very active in the community. Didn't get to know him extremely well, but on the few occasions we did get to interact and share story, I was very impressed by his wit, as well as his recollection of some great stories. So he will definitely be missed. I do see our sheriff is here. I'm not sure if he wants to share any words about Sheriff.
Thank you, Supervisor. And yeah, Ed Bates was a phenomenal leader, I think an icon within, not only the sheriff's office, but within the community. He showed up at all the events, and even at 99 years old, he was just a ball full of energy. So he lived an incredible life. He had so many incredible stories, and he loved to tell those stories. So all of us that knew him, he'll be dearly missed, and I sincerely appreciate you honoring him. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. So with that, we're going to move on to our invocation. Today we have Derek Pearl with First Christian Church. Derek.
Father God, we gather together today to not only in memory of those of loved ones we've lost, but also trusting you for your guidance and direction over the decisions made here in Madera County. Got to ask for your continued wisdom um, for the council, for the supervisors. And God, may this continue to be an opportunity to look forward to what you have in store for Madera County. We thank you for this privilege, and we thank you for being with us today. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which is one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
All right, thank you for that. We are going to move on to our public comment. So the first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Do we have any public comment at this time?
Hi, good morning. Tracy Kennedy, your treasure tax collector. And I too, I was so sorry to hear about Monty. I can't believe it. I have a picture of him dressed up as Elvis. He and Larry Reisinger. We had some fun times. Anyway, Jackie's passing out our statistics from April 10th. We're a little late, but with board meetings and this and that. So, but anyway, probably the biggest thing is that has changed is CORTAC, because CORTAC, which is mortgages. So with the subdivisions that have increased so much, so people are having their taxes paid within their mortgages, which is understandable. And this is basically the last 10 days, but in total is on the top. Second installments paid 93%. So we're pretty much on target. We have already sent out 4,500 delinquent notices. So for people that didn't pay their second installment or that haven't paid their supplemental taxes, they'll all get a little reminder notice. So anyway, and that's worth about $7 million worth of delinquencies for the first and the second. We had a lot of walk-in traffic, Dropbox, typical. E-checks are free, so that is something that's really great. If they pay in another means with a credit card like American Express or something, we send them a postcard and say, just do it with your check and it's free, and it posts immediately, because otherwise we have to deposit everything. So, and then also in one of your handouts is our tax sale. Okay, our upcoming tax sale. So our property tax auction is done online now, and it starts this Saturday. So the last day that they can redeem their parcel is Friday, and it's got to be good funds. It's got to be a cashier's check, cash. We can't take a personal check that late in the process. On here, a lot of these with the X's have been redeemed or they've been removed for one reason or another. And it doesn't say right here, but several of them have code enforcement charges on them. So the code enforcement fees are due to cleanup. They found an illegal grow of some sort, and all their trips that they've had to take. And their fees are you don't have it there, it's not broken out, but there's a lot. There are a lot of fees. So as you know, if the people don't pay their fines to code enforcement, then they come to the board and they get permission to put it on the tax bill, which is fine. And they do file a lien, which is great. I really wish that anybody else that put any kind of direct charge like that fine on the tax bill would file a lien. That really does perfect their position. But code enforcement does it right. And so there are liens filed against these people. Now, what happens is if we hold the tax sale with these minimum bids, and you can see some of them are very high, and that's because they have outstanding code enforcement fees on there, and we don't get a minimum bid, then we can reduce the minimum bid before the end of the sale. And so then that, we already have permission, you gave us permission to do that. So we can reduce the minimum bid during the last part of the sale to hopefully have people more excited to start bidding again. So where they can maybe fix it, clean it, and it becomes a little bit more palatable to them. Anyway, I don't know, is there any other questions? And our new lobby, we have our new lobby, which we love. It's beautiful. Everything's not completely done. There's a few things on the punch list that needs to be done. But once it is, we want you guys to come like an open house, like first day of school kind of a deal. And you can see how everything is set up. They really did a great job. They really did a great, great job. And it's made all the difference in the world. We got 2 workstations there permanent. We got places for 3 cashiers. So it's really wonderful. Anyway, that's my news across the nation.
Kudos to your staff. They're always so friendly and you know what? It's, we all have to pay taxes. We all do it. But it's so much easier when you've got a smiling person at the other end who's sympathetic and treating you decently.
Well, I've always said,
That's service.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And of course, it's to Jackie and Jenny and Kathy. I got a great team. And Julia's upstairs. But I've always said, I don't want you to pay more than what you owe, but I really do need you to pay your taxes. Okay. Right. So if we can do it right, we don't pay penalties. You won't get a nasty notice, and so so just pay what you're owed. And a lot of times, people don't come into our office because, we have a buy one, get one free. And so they come in because they have a problem. Right. And so we've kind of come to the philosophy is that if they come in here and they think that we've done something wrong or that there's something wrong on their tax bill, there may be, because it starts with maybe the value, maybe they didn't report something, maybe they didn't fill out a paper. So anyway, so we really are the taxpayer advocate. So I appreciate you for recognizing that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tracy.
All right. Thanks, Bobby.
All right. Do we have any more public comment in-house? Seeing none, we do have some public comment online. We're going to go ahead and start with Lisa.
Hello. I have lived here in Oakhurst for 10 years. I've been running a business legitimately, LLC, and pay my TOTs on time all the time. And so these new restrictions that are coming at us right now that feel as though it's going to shut us down and many others in the community, it's very disturbing. And we did not get this notice, I don't think, in a proper way. It was like word of mouth. Did you hear? Did you hear? And now we're all just faced with this and kind of scrambling to come up with what do we do? So I'm just bringing it to the board at this time. I will be going to the 2 workshops that are designated for this, but I just want you guys to know that this could really devastate a lot of people, but definitely the town of Oakhurst. I'm a senior. I depend on that money. I do it legally. I do it respectfully. And I've been doing it for 10 years. And to be kind of have the rug pulled out from underneath us right now is a little disturbing. So I just want to bring that to the attention of the board.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, next we have Nadine.
Good morning, supervisors. My name is Nadine Gustovich. I live and own a home in Oakhurst, California. I would like to mention the severe impact the county's draft ordinance for short-term rentals will have on me and my family. I'm employed by a property management company in my area that maintains STRs. If I didn't have this work, we would not be able to afford our home. It is increasingly difficult to purchase groceries, fuel, pay the rising cost of utilities, homeowners insurance, fire insurance, etc. My husband drives Monday through Friday to work in Fresno at the 144th Fighter Wing. He is in the United States Air Force of 23 years, serving 9 deployments. Our dream has been to have a home in the foothills. As I'm sure most of you here in attendance understand, to survive and live comfortably, you must have a 2-income household. That being said, will there be an economic impact study provided to us? These proposals will indeed cost our homeowners a fortune to comply. If they can't afford or obtain these permits and retrofit their properties, they will likely sell. There goes my job and many other jobs in this area. What about businesses and shops that rely heavily on our tourism to Yosemite? Restaurants, grocery stores. There aren't enough hotel rooms to support how many tourists visit us each year. We welcome over 4 million visitors each year. And I would really like to have that, included in the economic impact study. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Nadine. Next, we have Rhonda.
Hello there. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Morning.
Oh, good. So it is, speaking of tourism, it is California Tourism Month, and it is National Tourism and Travel Week. And so I just wanted to give you the numbers are just out today from Dean Runyon and Visit California. So California brought in $157 billion in tourism revenue last year in 2024, was 3% up from 23. We help with 1.17 million jobs in California rely on tourism. And tourism provides 12.6 billion in tax revenue for the state. So Madera County's portion of that, last year we brought in direct travel spending $432.5 million, up 2.8%. We brought in tax revenue for state and local, $37.9 million, 11.5% up. And local revenue, we brought in tax revenue, brought in 17.8 million, which was 12% up. And we employ in Madera County 5,380, give or take, employees, which was up 34.5% from 2023. So exciting numbers. This year we're going to be a little challenged. We have reservations coming out really late in the year. And I was on this morning and there are a lot less reservations that they've ever released, only about 1,000. So Memorial Day sold out in 10 minutes or so. So that's going to be a challenge for us. International markets maybe not coming, and then the uncertainty of, the economic uncertainty is also going to be a factor. So California is estimating about 1% down for this year in revenue, and we're going to estimate about 10%, a revised estimate, about 10% down. So thank you for your time. Go tourism. Let's figure out Yosemite somehow. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. And then lastly, we have Tara.
Hi, I also just wanted to comment on the ordinance. I'm a full-time cleaner, as are many of my friends. Many of them are single moms. And if reading over the ordinance, it just seems like there is unreasonable requests and very vague definitions of things, which leave us all a little bit scared. And from the owner standpoint of these establishments, it's going to make it impossible. And so it's not that any of us are not for creating ordinances that help the community and that help keep things in check, but we would like it reviewed, we'd like it revised, and we would like a chance to have input on the things that are going to make it absolutely impossible for anyone to go forward in this industry. It's going to affect a massive amount of people and their jobs and income in the community. And that's all I've said.
Thank you, Tara. Looks like we do have a couple more folks. Catherine?
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you opening the meeting with a prayer because I think we all need it. I am a homeowner and a legitimate business owner in Oakhurst, California. I run a beautiful property that allows tourism to flourish in this area. People love it when they come and stay at my property. And I just want to state for the record my opposition to this draft ordinance, which was not done with any stakeholders in the room. It was commissioned, from what we can tell, by staff-led process. And if there was any decisions made behind the scenes and out of public view, that all needs to be corrected because that's against Brown Act rules. And essentially, there's so many problems with this draft ordinance that it should just be completely taken off the table and reconfigured and not be a factor because it's already affecting property sales in the area. You have people already, there will be probably realtors on this call, which there are many people. And so just for the clerk's notice, there should be no one cut off from speaking public comment per Brown Act rules. Everyone that's entered the room needs to be heard. So you might hear from several agents that they've already had people pull out of deals because of just a breath of this draft ordinance. So you have to understand the kind of impact you're having already and the damages that are being caused. So the suggestion right now, and we're going to, there's a whole group of people coming in as an alliance. The suggestion is to pull it off the table because there are too many problems. You have way too much overbroad, big, ambiguous, cumbersome, multiple approvals from departments that aren't even set up to handle these types of compliance inspections. Like all your small water boards in the area have no idea this is even going to happen. They're not tooled up. They don't understand what they're even supposed to do. So now you have small water boards with individuals deciding the fate of people that have been running licensed businesses and paying millions of dollars into hot taxes. And let's just face it, Eastern Madera County is the breadbasket for the whole county. So you're really being short-sighted, and where are the impact studies that were even shared with the community before this was decided? So from day one, the minute this hit the public, it's causing damage. And I can tell you that owners, operators, vendors, housekeepers, handymen, tradespeople, anyone that lives off of this industry is getting organized quickly. And there could be pretty severe consequences if you guys don't take a really clear look at this. And that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. I believe lastly, we have Kim.
There's no lastly, by the way. You have
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I would just like to say I have been a lifelong owner and visitor of the area. I've owned a home here for 30 plus years, actually more than that. Since 1990, we purchased our first home here. And I also manage a property management company in Oakhurst and Bass Lake area. And I want to say that we have a coalition of resident and non-resident owner operators, service providers, and local business dependent on the short-term rental industry. And we are urgently requesting a revision of the draft short-term rental ordinance. This draft contains numerous provisions that violate California state law, federal, and state constitutional protections, including the Dormant Commerce Clause and existing Madera County zoning ordinances. The draft's restrictive permit rules, unreasonable quiet hours, and discriminatory requirements directly threaten property rights and the economic foundation of our mountain communities, where short-term rentals have underpinned the tourism economy for decades. Through nearly 40 years of deliberate policy decisions, both county and state governments have shaped the mountain region into a tourism-dependent economy where second home rentals represent the cornerstone of local economic vitality. Implementation of this ordinance would cause immediate, irreversible damage to property values and destabilize our entire mountain economy. The impact would cascade beyond rental operators to affect all businesses and services reliant on visitor spending, ultimately eroding the property tax base that funds essential county services. Alarmingly, the Planning Commission failed to consult key stakeholders, including realtors, owners, and operators, and related businesses like housekeeping and tradespeople, local shops, and restaurants during the drafting process. We require meaningful representation before any board decision in July. More balanced, collaborative approaches can address legitimate community concerns without endangering the tourism economy Madera County has intentionally cultivated. We strongly urge proper consultation with stakeholders and correction of these issues. And I second what Catherine said, which is I do believe that we need to just scrap the whole thing and start over with some very much more reasonable ordinances. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And it looks like we have one more. Melissa?
Hello, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to go ahead and speak on this short-term vacation rental ordinance as well. And I want to actually, it was great. I want to piggyback off of Rhonda. As most of us know that live here, tourism is a really big part. It brings in a ton of TOT. And I would like to know where the economic impact study is. If we have a copy, I think those should be made public. Those numbers, as we all should know, will dramatically decrease. Our tourism brings in majority of the money in this community. I speak on this as a owner of a short-term vacation rental business, as well as a broker associate in real estate. And my family also owns a small business in town that thrives off of tourism. So all of these things will be affected. Real estate's going to be affected, short-term vacation rentals, our tourism. I know majority of these companies, we all employ numerous cleaners and handymen that will either be left with a salary probably cut in half or no job at all. And I want to make sure that they're being considered in this study and what this impact will look like for them, their children, and their families. I don't think this is just a sweeping decision that everyone should be making without looking at the real consequences to this community and what the long-term ramifications are going to be for our community. Everyone talks about being worried about housing, but what do we think is going to happen to housing when we suddenly have a mass layoff in the mountain community? So I'm looking forward to seeing these studies. Hopefully we'll have them quickly. Hopefully by tomorrow's meeting, we'll have some real concrete evidence. And I do just want to reiterate that there is a very large group of us that we will be at every single meeting that's going on this month to make sure our voices are heard and that everybody's being considered. I don't think having, I think most people can get behind saying that there should be reasonable expectations in terms of, being a considerate neighbor, but it goes a lot farther than what's going on here in terms of being considerate to your neighbors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, do we have any additional public comment online or in the room?
We do not online.
Okay. With that, we are going to move on to our consent calendar. So all matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion, unless otherwise pulled by one of my colleagues on the board. Are there any items that we would look to have questions on or be pulled from the agenda?
Just a reminder for whoever makes the motion that it's R, S, and T that cannot be handled today and will be moved to the agenda on the 13th of May.
Thank you, Jay. With that, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve.
Oh,
And-
excuse me,
and-
public comment.
Just a clarification on that motion to approve, it's removing
Yes,
what
removing
Theo
our
mentioned
RS.
and noting the typographical errors in items C and U.
Yes.
And I do apologize. Do we have any public comment on the consent calendar?
None online.
Like none in the room.
I'll second.
Perfect. We have a first and a second.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Pro Tem McCauley.
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0.
All right. Thank you for that. So we are going to move on to item 6, our discussion items. Our first item, 6A, is a presentation of a proclamation honoring Corporal Jonathan Rodriguez. Sheriff, did you want to come up?
Thank you, Supervisor. On Wednesday, December 11th, the Madera County Sheriff's Office 911 Dispatch Center received a call of a female who was on the floor up in Corscold having an apparent heart attack. Corporal Rodriguez was dispatched to the scene. He arrived in approximately 5 minutes and immediately started rendering CPR. He saw that the CPR that was being rendered was ineffective. He immediately took over and started providing high quality, immediate, good CPR, chest compressions, and fortunately, she immediately was saved. She wrote this note, and I'd like to read it here to the board. Dear Sir Corporal Rodriguez, there are no words that will ever fully capture how much I owe you. When my heart stopped and my pulse was gone, you refused to give up on me. Because of your courage, skill, and unwavering dedication, you gave me my life back, and there's no greater gift than that. I'm a singer and songwriter traveling the United States, chasing a dream I've carried with me my entire life. Because of you, I get to keep writing songs, performing, and living this beautiful journey. Every mile I travel, every song I sing, and every crowd I connect to is because you chose to act with compassion and bravery when I needed it most. You didn't just save my life, you made it possible for me to keep living my purpose. I will carry your kindness with me wherever I go, and I'll never forget the hero that gave me a second chance. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and please know that you'll always have a special place in my life and music. With eternal gratitude, Bonnie Lang. So I think I could stand up here all day long and explain the situation, but I think that really sums it up. This is, one of many examples of the truly heroic thing our deputies do and law enforcement across the country do on a daily basis. And we're so proud of Corporal Rodriguez and his timeliness and his ability to step in and take over. And I'm extremely grateful for the board for recognizing him here today. I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sheriff. Yeah, I think it's occasions like this that really bring, confidence from the public to the sheriff's office as well as the county. So, Corporal, definitely appreciate all your work. Was there anything you wanted to add? Did you have anything you wanted to share with us, or?
Just thank you for having me here today, and Bob and I can do.
Thank you, Corporal. And do my colleagues have anything they'd wish to share?
Good job.
We do have a supervisor. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just, it's one of those things where, you're on patrol, you just get a 911 call, you never know what you're gonna get. You don't know what kind of call you're gonna show up to. And it's just one of those things where, all the training that you get and the repetitions that you get on a daily basis, it feels good, when you get to step in and be able to make those life-changing when those life-changing events happen and you get to be a part of that. So thankful that you were there. 5-minute response time. That's great. And I can empathize when you're watching someone do low quality CPR and you want to kind of push them out of the way because they're not doing what they need to do. And and some people, they continue to let people do low quality CPR. And when you recognize it, and sometimes it takes strength to say, hey, you need to step over there, and you step in and do what needs to be done. So thank you for, having the expertise to realize what needed to be done during that time. So thanks.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And we do have a proclamation here. We'd love to come down and take a picture with you. That's okay. All right, next on our agenda is a proclamation honoring Deputy Michael Cabrera. Sheriff, can you take us through that?
Thank you, Supervisor. On New Year's Day, we received a 911 call at the dispatch center of a public health call of a woman who stated she wanted to cut her wrists. Deputy Cabrera immediately was responding to the scene. While he was responding, he was updated by dispatch that this person in crisis had in fact not only cut her wrist, but it cut her entire hand off of her. He responded to the scene. He was extremely quick to act, recognized the immediate emergency. This occurred up in North Fork, so obviously there's takes us a little bit longer to get there. When he came in, he saw the extreme amount of blood loss, immediately took action, tourniqueted this woman's arm to stop the blood loss. The team then coordinated air response, and she was heli-flighted out. When the paramedics and the helicopter staff got there, they stated that they estimated she lost 2 or 3 liters of blood, which is a substantial amount. And had he not taken the action that he had taken, based on his training experience, he would have passed away, certainly. So we're extremely proud of Deputy Cabrera. He acted immediately, took action, and because of those actions, saved this woman's life. So we're super proud of him, and I'm super grateful for you guys recognizing.
Thank you, Sheriff, and thank you, Deputy Cabrera. Was there anything that you wanted to share with the board, or?
No, just thank you for being having me here. Got good training up there in the mountains. CPR, so more CPR and the tourniquet training from my corporal. So thanks to him, I was able to do that.
Absolutely. And thank you for your service. And I think just another great example of you never know what you're going to encounter when you're out there. So thank you for all your work, and please stay safe out there. Anything from my colleagues that you'd like to share?
Again, good job, but you know that people can't begin to understand what law enforcement goes through every day, the different aspects of what they do. People's lives certainly depend on it. This is case in point, somebody's life was saved. And I'm sure that given mental health evaluation and help and all of that, that this person will someday approach you and thank you for what you did, because people go through moments that they do things that they don't really think about. And then it comes full circle and they realize what a dumb thing that was to do that. But at the time, they don't think that. You give them the opportunity to think about it some more and live and have good lives. Thank you for what you've done.
Thank you, Supervisor.
And I'm just happy we get to be, and thank you again for the work you did. I'm just happy we're, us as a board, and we're so supportive of law enforcement, and that we're able to recognize the good work that everybody does. Because a lot of people just don't understand what law enforcement go through on a daily basis. And, when we get to highlight events like these, yes, these are the super traumatic type of events, but there are traumatic events that happen all the time. So when we can highlight the good things, the life-saving awards and those types of things, I just really enjoy that, because we really value our law enforcement, our deputies, the good work that they do. And we're going to continue to support our deputies.
Absolutely.
Every time that we can. And we want you guys to know that you're supported. This board supports you. And, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing your job with integrity, we're going to have your backs 100% of the time.
Amen to that.
I got one thing, Supervisor. Piggybacking on one thing that Supervisor Womoff said, I think this is now the third one we've had in really quick succession. I think it's a powerful reminder of this board's commitment to public safety goes well beyond just traditional law enforcement. This board over the years has invested in training, has invested in staffing, has invested in incentives to get people medically certified as EMTs. And though the deputies get to stand up here and do these heroic things, and I get to stand up here and take photos with them, I think there's a lot of credit on the back end that goes unnoticed for your board's support. So in the first one, we had extremely expensive medical equipment that your board put in these vehicles. We had quick response times that's directly related to the staffing levels. And in this case, this last case, it was the training that we're able to provide these deputies. So I want to express my gratitude back to the board and let you know that though I get to stand up here and bask in their glory a little bit with them, it doesn't go unnoticed that we're extremely grateful for the board's unwavering support. So thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. And Deputy, is it okay if we come down and take a picture with you?
Yes. Let's
Fantastic.
give these two guys a round of applause.
All right. Do we have any public comment on either of these proclamations?
None online.
Excellent. With that, we're going to move on to item 6C, another proclamation. This one is for Madeline Townsend. Madeline, I don't know if you want to come up and join us up here at the podium. But this was actually brought to my attention by Madeline, I think a couple members of your fan club here at the county. They had shared with me a video which was posted by, I think, ABC 30, kind of talking about your program that you helped develop over at the Mountain Youth Club and at Yosemite Unified High School, and some of the good work you're doing. So I wanted to bring you down here just to recognize you for your efforts and your great work and all the things you're doing. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the program, what you're doing? Okay, perfect. If it's green, you're green. Why don't you try it one more time? There you go.
Hi, there we go. My name is Madeline Townsend. I am a junior in high school. I work for my club. I created this program, My Closet Box. It's for 5th through 12th graders. I have a survey that they can fill out, and based on that, I put together free fashion boxes for them. And yeah.
And you've been pretty successful at that, from what I understand, getting boxes out not only just in the Oakers community, but Mariposa, and then also extending that program down into LA. Is that correct?
Yeah, so locally I've distributed probably around 150 boxes to students. And I started this program in September of last year. And then just came back from LA helping students recover from the Eaton fires in Altadena. I distributed 90 boxes to John Muir students and a few other kiddos from like Pasadena High and stuff. And I provided them with essentials like some more new clothes to rebuild their closets, and just essentials like makeup and all of that.
All right. Well, I can say when I was your age, it was all about basketball and snowboarding. So I think I just commend you for your maturity and your efforts in the community. I think you're just going to be a magnificent leader. So I hope you come back to the community after you go off and learn everything out in the world. So anything that
Yeah,
you want to share? Or?
You know what's interesting? A person at your age, it takes some people years to realize that self-actualization doesn't come from serving yourself, but from serving others. And you've realized that at a young age. What you're doing has implications for those that you're helping, and it's a self-esteem implication. And I think that you are very mature for your age and to be commended for your focus on others and not yourself. So well done.
Yeah, I just think it's so cool what you're doing, and in the process of serving others, you get to learn probably lots of real world real world things, like probably meeting with clothing manufacturers or retailers, and getting people to buy into your vision and to donate and all those things, right? So those are things that carry forward in, in your regular life, and to be a junior in high school is just incredible. So keep on doing what you're doing, and just carry it forward. I think we're going to see more of you, not just in this capacity, but doing great things. So good job.
Perfect. And then Madeline, we do have a proclamation we'd like to present to you. So we're going to come down and take a picture if that works okay for you. All right. And so we're going to move on to item 6D. We have a proclamation naming May 6th through 12th, 2025 as National Nurses Week.
Simon Paul, Health Officer, Chair, members of the board. I'm proud that we're here today to honor our dedicated public health nurses in celebration of National Nurses Week. Public health nurses serve a truly unique role, choosing to work not only with individual patients, but also working to improve the health of our entire community. They work with our foster care programs. They work to bring services to areas lacking access. They support maternal and child health, help our community respond to emergencies, and help get kids up to date with vaccinations so that they don't miss school. And they do all of this with enthusiasm, compassion, and professionalism. Personally, throughout my career, I have always worked closely with nurses as a team, and I cannot overstate how important their contribution has always been to me and my work. And this importance of nursing continues in my work here in the Department of Public Health. So it's great that this week we can recognize their contributions, and I'd like to express my deepest gratitude for their commitment to ensuring the health and well-being of our community. And have
To the board, to my colleagues and fellow citizens. My name is Melody Keller, and I'm the Deputy Director of Clinical and Nursing Services for Public Health. I'm also a public health nurse, and I'm honored to share and celebrate National Nurses Week with all of you. National Nurses Week is celebrated every year from the 6th through the 12th of May. During this week, we recognize the contribution of nurses to our healthcare system and society as a whole. Nursing is the largest healthcare profession globally, with millions of dedicated nurses working in various healthcare settings, including hospitals, clinics, community agencies, schools, and in patients' homes. And I wanted to take a moment to recognize the incredible work of our public health nurses at the Public Health Department. Our team consists of 15 dedicated nurses, including both registered nurses and public health nurses, serving our community across 8 programs within the department. These services, like Dr. Paul mentioned, include the California Children's Services, clinic and mobile services, foster care, adult protective services, communicable disease prevention, childhood lead poison prevention, and maternal child and adolescent health programs, just to name a few. I also wanted to share a story that really shows the impact of our public health nurses in our community, particularly as it relates to our childhood lead poison prevention program. Just last year, a family in our community experienced the devastating effects of lead poisoning. This child had been showing signs of developmental delays, and through our outreach efforts, we were able to connect with them.
One of our public health nurses visited their home to conduct a lead risk assessment, and she discovered that the child had been exposed to lead from deteriorating paint in their older home. She not only provided the family with education about lead exposure and its effects, but also connected them with resources for home repairs and access to medical services. Because of her advocacy, the child received timely interventions and support, allowing that child the opportunity to develop healthy and to thrive. And this is just one example of how our public health nurses are not only caregivers, but also community advocates, working diligently to prevent illness and promote health. This National Nurses Week proclamation being presented today is not just a formality. It is a recognition of the important role that nurses play in the fabric of our community and our nation. Thank you for joining us in honoring nurses during National Nurses Week. And to the board, your commitment to their recognition is a testament to the value we place on health in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Paul, and thank you, Melody. As I understand it, you could pretty much go wherever you want it, Melody. So I just want to call you out in particular and thank you for your service to Madera County and your commitment to the community. So thank you. Any comments from my colleagues? Okay. Hearing none, any public comment?
No comments online.
Okay. Dr. Paul, Melody, don't sit down quite yet. We do have a proclamation here for you. So we're hopeful we can grab you for a quick picture, okay? All right, with that, we're going to move on to item 6E.
Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Data Ticket Inc. to process administrative citations issued by county staff for a 5-year term and authorize the chair to sign.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jamie Bax with Community and Economic Development. Just briefly, we actually do work with Data Ticket. We have since 1994. CHP uses it predominantly for parking citations. Code enforcement can use it as well. This is basically an expansion of that contract to allow Data Ticket to do the collections process for us on any of the citations we send out. So it's not just code enforcement that could use it. The sheriff's office could use it for the newly implemented noise ordinance. They could hand out those tickets. The property owner or whoever is receiving that citation would then have to make their payments to Data Ticket. Data Ticket then transfers those fees and citations to the county. So that already exists. It's basically just an expansion of that. I've heard other departments that might be interested in using it as well. So we're available if you have any questions. The contract does include the amounts per citation that they would be holding on to for providing those services. But I think it would be great, especially for code enforcement and how busy they are, to be able to utilize their services in a more expanded way.
Thank you, Jamie. We have any questions from my colleagues on the board?
I just have one question. What is the process, or do you know the process for appeals? Because I know, when someone gets a citation from a county or CHP or a deputy or whatever, there's very clear outlines for appeals. And I know for some of these, I don't know if it's specific to Data Ticket, but sometimes the appeals or even getting in contact with someone regarding that citation is very difficult. and can be frustrating if someone, was issued a ticket in error, or maybe there was some other justification or some other appeal. Do you know what that process is with data ticket?
Sure. Thank you, Supervisor, for that question. And Brandon can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is we could either utilize the existing system we have now, which is here internal with the county, or we could use data ticket as our appellant. We would have direct contact with them. So if that person who is paying or needing to pay or appealing their citation, if they have trouble having or getting that contact, they could always work with us to be able to make sure that they get that contact and work within the time period that they have. But we don't necessarily have to use data ticket for that process. We can continue to use the internal process for the appeals. I don't know, Brandon, if you have anything else to provide on that.
Also, on the back of the ticket, they will have all the instructions. Everything can be done online through the citation processing center line.
Right, but does it cost any more to have data ticket be the appellant?
No, it would be included.
It's included in the package that they have provided us. So they've given us two different options. Do they keep a portion of it for the services rendered? Yes. However, the person that is appealing it isn't paying anything extra. The county isn't paying
No, I'm
anything
just saying
extra.
if the county were to exclusively do those appeals in-house versus letting data ticket do that, is there a discount that we receive from that, or is it just a flat fee?
It's not a flat fee. It's a minimum fee of $250 per month that they need to collect from us, which is very minimal. So, if they're collecting $13 per citations and we're issuing that many citations per month and collecting on those, and we've reached the $250 per month, there's no additional fees they would have to charge us.
Okay, there's no additional fees that they would have to, if we met that minimum threshold. You're saying.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm just saying specifically to the contract that we have with them, do we get a reduction is there a reduction in fees if we exclusively do the appeals in-house?
No reduction. We just wouldn't be paying them.
I would prefer to have those appeals done in-house, just because I have experienced those personally where, you get something that is outsourced to San Jose and you're contacting someone who has no clue what's going on here locally. And part of, local government is you need to be, us being elected leaders, we need to be accountable to the people. And I want to have a name and a face when you call. That's just me personally. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I want to have a little more personal touch when it comes to those appeals, not just call some 800 number and speak to someone at a call center in San Jose.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll chime in on that if I can. I agree with that thought. It's our responsibility on that end. And things can happen. Circumstances can be mitigated in-house. If you're decentralized, not as likely to happen efficiently or as it probably should, where we know the people, we communicate with them, learn their circumstances. It's important that we're engaged.
Thank you.
And I know you guys, in the way of kudos, you guys do a lot of work. I know because I give you a lot of stuff almost on a daily basis, and code enforcement is super responsive, very their demeanor, their attitude is great. They deal with people in such a way as to not be antagonistic. They're very understanding and very compassionate, and also very accurate. And Brandon in particular, I've dealt with him a lot, and he's just very, very good at what he does. It's an extremely difficult position to be in because people are already heightened in their dislike of government, let's say, and he brings that down pretty well with his demeanor. Great guy. Thank you.
Sorry, one more thing. I know the item is data ticket, but I forgot to say thank you to code enforcement. You guys catch so much crap.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it is just unbelievable. And you guys are steadfast in your job and do what needs to be done. And so I just want to take this opportunity publicly to say thank you to our code enforcement folks.
Yeah.
You guys really get put through the ringer sometimes. And thank you for doing what you do.
Move
Unless
to
there are any
approve.
other comments, we're going to go out for public comment.
None online.
None in-house. So it looks like we have a motion. Do we have a
Second.
second? We have a motion and a second.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Pro Tem McCauley.
Yes,
Vote passes 3-0.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 6F.
County Administration Department, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Central Valley Community Foundation in the amount of $100,000 for services provided by the County of Madera for completion of the Sierra San Joaquin Job Coalition Regional Investment Initiative submission for the California Jobs First Initiative and authorize County Administrative Officer or their designee to sign.
Good morning, Chair Pro Tem and members of the board. This agreement would be between ourselves and Central Valley Community Foundation. As you know, we've been engaged with some work with them since 2022. We're currently working on a number of things, including a regional investment initiative, which requires quite a bit of investment on our part from a time perspective at a moment's notice. It affects all 4 counties that are part of our group, which would be ourselves, Fresno, Kings, and Tulare. So rather than just doing this for gratis, the members of that group have reached out to Central Valley Community Foundation to advise them that if we are to continue to engage, because it's to our best interest and to our best future to engage, that it would really be worthwhile for them to compensate all 4 of the counties for the work that they're doing. So the dollar amount agreed upon was $100,000. 50 will be paid if the board approves the agreement, and 50 will be paid in January 2026. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Jay. Do we have any questions from my colleagues?
I don't have a question, but I would like some clarification because
Sure.
I think when the average Joe reads 6F, they have no idea what that is. It's a paragraph and it's all one sentence. And if you could just provide some broad overview for what this actually is, what the Sierra San Joaquin Jobs Coalition is, what this money actually goes towards, just more of
Sure.
a 30,000 foot view
Sure.
of what this item actually is.
So sorry for the fact that it's not very clear, but there's a lot going on all at once. So if we go back to 21-22, the governor started the California Jobs First Initiative, which has gone through a number of names and iterations. He cut the state up into 13 different regions. Ours is ourselves, Fresno, Kings, and Tulare. And we were originally called SERF, Community Economic Resiliency Fund. Changed the name 2 or 3 times. Now the final name is Sierra San Joaquin Jobs, and that makes more sense. This is part of a statewide jobs initiative. But underneath that, the state is funneling money down to the regions. The money is competitive, and it can go in different directions, so to speak. And there are different pots of money that come down at different times. So this particular $100,000 is designed to help pay for mostly 3rd floor and 4th floor staff time to work on the energy initiative that we've been going back and forth with the Secretary of CDFA and the Natural Resources Administration in Sacramento. It requires a lot of their specified knowledge so that when we talk to the state, we have answers for them about maps related to future energy and things of that nature.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think providing that explanation for anyone who's listening or who reads this item will actually be able to understand what that is, because unless you're in the know, that's very, very difficult to understand. And as far as investments, can you provide just a little bit of what that might look like in terms of benefit back to us with this small amount of and I don't say small, it's a considerable amount
Sure.
of money, but what type of return we're looking to get on something.
So
like
there's two main things that we're working on right now. One is the region-wide energy analysis. I think it's, for those of us who are involved in government, it's fairly expected that at some point the state's going to come up with their renewable energy goals, make demands on different parts of the state about what level or how much or where you're going to provide it. And our theme since the item that the board approved last July related to energy, which didn't get into the budget trailer language, has been, well, if we know that's the playing field, we want the playing field to match what the four counties want. That's what's created the back and forth with the state secretaries. Our last meeting was during the CSAC conference on Wednesday. It seemed to be a very productive meeting in terms of at the meeting were the Secretary of the Natural Resource Agency, Secretary of Department of Food and Ag, the head of the CPUC, and the deputy head of the CEC, all to talk to our county group about what our thoughts are in terms of future renewable energy in our area. So that's one thing that we're doing, and that does require some of the staff time. In fact, it requires the greater amount of the staff time. The other thing that we're currently working on is this regional investment initiative, which I think the total dollar amount was in the $145 million range for the entire state. And it was, as many state projects do, it had a lot of demands and caveats with it, which had to be things that were shovel ready, had to be things that created jobs that were sustainable, had to be shovel ready from a standpoint of 2 years from funding, it has to be completed. So for our particular county, if there's any private entities that have put in for this money, I'm not aware of that. From the county standpoint, the only shovel-ready energy project we had was to direct the North Fork Community Power Group and their plant there that they're trying to get online. We acted as kind of the middle people to connect them to the application process at Sierra San Joaquin Jobs, so that their project got included in the pre-application along with all the other asks from the other three counties. They did qualify at that point, and we met last Friday via Zoom for them to talk with the principals, which isn't the county in this case, it's whoever project it is, to talk about what they're going to have to do to be prepared to be successful at the next project. There's a lot of step down projects till you actually get to the yes, you're funded. So
a lot of steps.
And the problem with it is, so I have to give CVCF kudos on the fact that in terms of any deadlines up to this point, they've been well in advance. They've made good notifications. They've gotten a hold of the right people to talk to the right people about the right things. However, this meeting we had Friday, we had to have because something came up that the deadline was Friday. So the state has been very cooperative, but it feels a little like they're making the playing field and the rules as we move down the playing field. And that creates the need to have to sometimes jump in an unreasonable manner if we want to maintain a place here.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. I just wanted to be, out there for the average Joe to
Sure.
understand what's going on. There's one other thing, regarding these competitive grants, and I would just like, staff and admin to be cognizant of. It's when, certain departments are applying for things and they get awarded, and then it comes before the board, for us to award that, or, to move forward in that or not. When, and I think it was the last one was public health, with the S2J2, and they had applied for it, and I'm not sure that, we were all aware that they were going to apply for that, or at least I just want to make sure that
Sure,
our visions are aligned, and making
Right.
sure that the board is making sure that certain departments aren't competing with each other for
Right.
certain grants when the board might necessarily want to move in a particular direction. So
Yeah, and Edmund should have done a better job of coordinating that with the board.
And I'm not saying it was a bad thing one way or the other. I just think, you know, if we're not competing with ourselves, different departments, you know, I think we'll have a more desirable outcome. But thank you for that clarification. I do appreciate that.
All right. I think the saying that stands out to me the most is if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So Jay, I want to say thank you for coming to the table, having these discussions around energy and the Valley's future around energy. I think they're going to be extremely important as we move forward. So with that, I want to go out to public comment on this item.
None online.
Seeing none in the room, come back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Supervisor Warmoth.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Pro Tem McCauley.
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0.
Thank you. And with that, we're going to move on to item 6G.
Chair, there was a request to pull item 6G. The department is requesting to add it to an upcoming agenda.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Council. With that, we're going to move to 6H.
Public Works Department Administrative Services Division, second reading to adopt an ordinance enacting a new chapter 13.50 to Title 13 of the Madera County Code relating to water regulations applicable within County Service Area 22C.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Andrea Saldati, Deputy Director of Public Works. Before you today is the second reading of an amendment to our ordinance chapter 13. It is specifically relating to the Gunner Ranch West water system, mainly around groundwater balance and water conservation, per an agreement that they made about 10 years ago. So the amended ordinance, again, it's very specific to groundwater balance, a new application for service users, again, around groundwater balance, specific to Valley Children's and the Gunner Ranch West area. I'm here for any questions.
Any questions from my colleagues? Any public comment online?
None online.
Any public comment in the room? Seeing none, I'll come back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second.
Supervisor Warmoth.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Pro Tem McCauley.
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0.
Thank you. With that, we're going to move on to item 7, pending legislation.
County Administration Department discussion and consideration to ratify a letter of concerns on position AB 735 and SB 415. These bills are identified as a cleanup legislation for AB 98.
Thank you. And this first one, 7A, has to do with the bills that had to do with where they could place logistical centers. Our letter was modeled significantly after CSAC's letter. It has already been submitted, and there are some changes to this legislation, which I will synopsize and bring to you as a staff report, informal staff report at your next meeting on Tuesday, May 13th.
Thank you, Jay. Do we have any questions? Any public comment?
None online.
Okay, back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Warmoth.
Yes.
Pro Tem McCauley.
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0.
All right, item 7B.
County Administration Department discussion and consideration to ratify a letter of opposition of SB 16, position of homelessness, housing assistance and prevention program, housing element, integrated plan for behavioral health services and outcomes.
Thank you. SB 16 is at least in its form when this letter was sent, was a piece of legislation that we oppose. It had some direction in it that would create some costs by cities that counties would have to bear. We didn't think it was well thought through, nor did a number of the associations that we support. It also has had some changes, which I'm not prepared to recount for you today, but I will bring back to you in an informal staff report on May 13th. And this is a ratification also.
Thank you, Jay. Do we have any questions? Any public comment?
None online.
Okay, back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and a second.
Supervisor Warmoth.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Pro Tem McCauley.
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0.
Thank you. And then I believe we have a third item added as a subsequent need. Is that correct?
Yes, this is a letter of opposition to Assembly Bill 1441 from Assemblymember Soria. This particular bill deals specifically with the County of Merced, and more or less forcing them to create a redistricting commission under some fairly specific and perhaps unreachable guidelines. The letter before you is in opposition of support. It's in opposition to the legislation supporting Merced County, and just more or less saying what our county's opinion on this and where we think this will lead. The fact that we think it is oversteps local control. It also seems to put their registrar of voters, who's supposed to be a nonpartisan person, in somewhat of a partisan position if they're going to be involved in any of the process of implementing AB 1441. And for those reasons, we were asked to draft an opposition letter for the board to consider, and that's what you have before you today.
Thank you, Jay. Do we have any questions?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
I just think this sets a very bad precedent, and we could be next. You know, I mean, what if they're going to dip into one county? What would prohibit them from dipping into every county? And I don't like the idea at all of telling locals what to do on their own turf. So thank you for this letter.
And this was introduced by her?
It was introduced by Assemblymember Soria. We did double check, and it's our understanding that this was not done in conjunction with Merced County in any fashion when it was introduced. They have submitted their own letter of opposition. It's significantly longer than this one.
Do we have any reason why our own assemblywoman is going against the local government?
Not that I know firsthand. So.
Okay, it's pretty astonishing.
But it is.
Okay. If there's any
Motion to
other
approve the opposition.
public comment first.
Yeah.
We have any public comment?
Good morning, board. My name is Gilbert Felix. I'm here on behalf of Assemblywoman Esmeralda Soria to speak on AB 1441. A couple of things. One, our office respectfully asks that the board consider postponing taking a position on this piece of legislation until perhaps your May 13th meeting. Our office is more than happy to schedule time to meet with all of you collectively, to meet with all of you individually, to speak with the county administrative officer if that would be necessary as well, to further explain this piece of legislation. Do want to emphasize that this is specific to Merced County, has nothing to do, no impact to Madera County. And additionally, in terms of the piece of legislation, how it was born, is it was born from the community. It was born from locals in Merced County. Assemblywoman Soria is carrying the piece of legislation, but it is on behalf of a broad coalition of community-based organizations in Merced County. If you go online, I'm happy to share it with you or with the county administrative officer. We have several folks in the county that are supportive of it, that came to the Assemblywoman with this idea for this piece of legislation and to move it forward. And we're continuing to have conversations with the county. More than happy again to have a conversation with Madera County about this piece of legislation. Really want to emphasize it's Merced specific, nothing to do with Madera County. So again, respectfully ask that the board consider postponing consideration of a position on this bill until May 13th. And we're happy to meet with you guys to have a further discussion and to really kind of help you understand, what the intention was behind the bill. But like I said, it's locally driven by folks within the community.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Felix. Appreciate it. I believe that is all the public comment. And
yeah, I have a little more communication on that. I still think it sets bad precedent. I think it sets an idea that Madera County on the whim of NGOs or whoever decides that they want something put in legislation to dominate a county and do that. I just think it's bad all around. And obviously the Merced County thinks it's bad or they wouldn't have sent a letter of opposition. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the county request to send a letter of opposition.
Yeah, and I think, yes, standing in solidarity and letting, radical local community groups dictate local electeds. I'm not here for it, not going to happen. And I'm going to stand in solidarity with our friends in Merced County and send this letter of opposition to not let these NGOs and radical community-based organizations dictate how these things are done. So I second that motion.
All right, we have a first and a second.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Pro Tem McCauley.
Yes,
Vote passes 3-0.
thank you. With that, we're going to move on to supervisor and staff reports.
Yes, it's our last meeting. I attended the MCTC for Madera County.
Thank you. Supervisor Wama.
Yeah, on the week of April 21st, attended CSAC Ledge Conference in Sacramento and learned some valuable stuff there. April 29th, went to the sheriff's swearing in and promotional ceremony. Great to see some of those folks. And saw some of the same deputies that we had here were recognized there, and to see some of the folks that are coming up in the new ranks within our sheriff's department. May 2nd, attended the UPS store grand opening in Riverstone, and they have some exciting things happening there as far as retail and a new grocery store that they have signed. I would like to remind everyone, May 16th is the Olive fundraiser dinner. May 17th is the Flatlanders Parade in the Ranchos. If you are interested in getting a booth there or being in the parade, reach out to the Golden Valley Chamber of Commerce. You can sign up there. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be similar to what happened last year. It's going to be on Road 36 in front of the high school, a shorter stint, short but sweet is how they call it. And would like to, publicly state my opposition to the amendments from Assembly Bill 379, originally introduced by Assemblywoman Maggie Krell out of Sacramento, regarding the Democrats in Sacramento wiping away the ability or the punishment of purchasing 16 and 17-year-olds for sex to be a felony. They said it negatively affects those of the LGBTQIA BC plus people. I'm not sure how they have come to that conclusion, how it negatively affects people of color and those who are 18 and 19 years old, who quote unquote, in terms of Representative Wiener, he says 18 and 19-year-olds who quote unquote fool around with 16 and 17-year-olds. This bill is specific to those who purchase minors for sex, and the Democrats in Sacramento, not all of them, but they certainly stripped it away. So if you purchase a 16 and 17-year-old for sex, the Democrats want that to be a misdemeanor, which is disgusting. So I just want to formally oppose the amendments that passed, and just say that our state is losing common sense, has lost common sense. The arguments for continuing to make 16 and 17-year-old purchasing of 16 and 17-year-olds for sex a misdemeanor are disgusting, gross, and I have yet to hear one solid argument for why this is acceptable. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor. Just a couple updates from myself. Tomorrow, we will be having a community meeting for draft short-term rental ordinance, which I think we heard a little bit about in public comment. We'll also be having another meeting, community meeting up in Oakhurst on 5/28 to discuss that draft ordinance. We also have a couple community meetings for our Oakhurst mobility study, which will be this Friday at 6, and then again Saturday at 2. I also want to report out that I too attended the CSAC Legislative Conference. There was able to attend meetings, get information on what's going on at the legislature, as well as meet with the Secretary of Food and Agriculture, Secretary Ross, and Secretary Crowfoot with CNRA to discuss the Valley's goals around energy. Was also given the opportunity to meet with CNRA staff to discuss the wildfire task force and priorities for RCRC and CSAC. So overall, very good meeting or series of meetings at Sacramento. Very grateful for the opportunity to go attend those. With that, kick it over to the CIO.
Thank you. Just wanted to remind the board members and the public that on Tuesday, May 13th, we will be having the law enforcement memorial ceremony at the law enforcement memorial in Old Courthouse Park. So hopefully the board can plan accordingly to break around 11:30, 11:45. If it starts at the normal time, it'll be starting at noon. Generally runs about 45 minutes to an hour. And no, I still don't know if they're serving lunch. So that was asked of me earlier. The other thing I just wanted to point out was it's kind of interesting. It's sad that both Monty and Ed have passed away, but I don't think there was two more opposite personalities in the entire county of Madera who also both contributed so much to the county of Madera during their lifetime. So I just wanted to share that for those who didn't know both of them. If you knew both of them, you know exactly what I mean.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Council?
No report, Chair. Thank you.
Clerk?
Nothing to report other than happy birthday, Brett Frazier.
Oh, you stole my win.
Oh.
Okay. But I heard he's turning 65 today. So I guess retirement's right around the corner for old Brett Frazier. So with that, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting adjourned.